Gentlemen, welcome to my channel SPF Style. Today we're talking about the necktie, how to tie it, and basically when you should wear one. Alright, we're first going to talk about when you should be wearing a tie. First of all, you should be wearing a tie pretty much whenever you're wearing a white shirt like I am wearing or a dress shirt. Alright, it's pretty common that you see this widespread collar like I have on, or you'll see a different one where it's kind of pointed closer. I don't really have an example. I don't own a white shirt with that kind of style of collar, but those are the two you're going to find. If you see a white shirt with either of those, you should be wearing a tie. Or if you have a dress shirt and you're in a business attire, formal attire, you should be wearing a tie. Obviously, if you work, let's say you work at a factory where this is considered a hazard, you obviously would not wear a tie. But for anywhere else business, and it's business attire, if I just say business attire, a tie, alright? If it's a formal event, a tie. Funeral, a tie. Wedding, a tie. Pretty much everywhere you could be wearing a tie. Alright, a tie is a really great thing. We're going to show you 3 different ways today, not me, I don't know where the we comes from. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to tie a tie today. Basically, they're my 3 favorites. I'm going to show you the Pratt, which is the most common way that I have found to tie a tie, and not common for everybody else, common for me because it's the easiest. Alright, it's not even a half Windsor. Alright, it's the Pratt. It's so easy. We're going to do the full Windsor, which is the most common way and also one of the thickest ways but most professional ways of tying a tie. And we're going to show you the 4-in-hand, which is a very casual way of tying a tie. We'll put it that way. Let's get started. Alright, a lot of people in these videos will do a mirrored effect where I reverse the way it looks. That only works if that's the opposite way of how you are. If you're left-handed, you're going to do it differently. If you're right-handed, you're going to do it differently. You can flip your sides around and tie a tie the same way on either side. It doesn't matter. So for me doing it this way, it's not going to change the fact that's how you tie the tie. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to show you how to do it. First one up is the Pratt. The Pratt is very simple. You're going to have your little end. Now, the way I think about it is I've got my shirt pocket. If you don't have a shirt pocket, don't worry, that's just the easiest way. You could also do it with the buttons on your shirt. Now, if you don't have buttons on your shirt, then you're not wearing a shirt that needs a tie. The little end should be, if you take this part of the pocket, should probably be just right under the pocket. Should fall right underneath it. Probably about 1 inch underneath it. Okay? You got the big end on this side. You're going to take the big end and cross it over the little end to start the Pratt. You're then going to bring it around to this side, and you're going to bring it up through the middle, just like this, okay? So you're left with this little triangle, is what you're going to be starting with, okay? Then you're going to take it on the same side, cross it over, like this, okay? Then you're going to bring it behind and through, just like this, okay? Then you're going to lift this up. You're going to see there's a little hole right here where you came across, and you're going to take this end and put it through that hole. And that is how you tie the Pratt, okay? Now, I've also called this, personally, I like to call this the quarter Windsor, because that's really what you're doing. You're just doing a quarter of a Windsor knot. And that's actually up next. So this is the Pratt. Alright, it's time for the full Windsor. This is the most common knot to tie, it's the most professional looking knot, and it's going to be one of the best knots for you to learn if you're going to learn any knot at all. This is going to be the one you're going to want to learn. It eats up a lot of fabric, so you're definitely going to want to bring your little end up to about the middle of your pocket, I would say, if you're using the pocket rule. If you're using this, it's about the 3rd button down if you're doing the button rule. Okay, you can line it up. Okay, you're going to take the big end, and just like we started the Pratt, you're going to cross it over the top of the little end. Okay. You are then going to do the exact same thing the way we started with the Pratt. Bring it up through the middle. So it starts the same way. Okay, so you're left with that triangle. Okay, but instead of going around right away, we're going to switch sides. So we would start on this side and go around. We're going to bring it on this side and bring it up and through again. Okay, and what I want you to imagine, since it's a Windsor and your Windsor starts with W, what you're left with is this. And what if you can kind of imagine it, you can kind of see a W forming right in here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of like a W if you look really close, okay? You can kind of see a W. It's kind of like abstract art, okay? Then you're going to take it and go across, just like that, okay? Then you're going to bring it up through the middle, and then you're going to put it through the hole just like we did with the Pratt. And that is the full Windsor. It's a bulky knot, but it's a really good knot. Now, I'm not a fan of putting dimples in my ties. I don't know why, I'm just not a fan of it. If you like that, there's a really easy way to put a dimple in. I learned this trick from watching IamAlphaM.com and Aaron Marino. He taught me this trick. Before you tie your tie and you loosen it up, stick your finger up in there and pinch. Then tighten it. What you're creating is a fake dimple, basically. It's a false dimple is what you've just created. And it's a really cool way to do it. So thanks Aaron Marino from IamAlphaM.com for teaching me that really cool way to put a dimple in if you need one. Alright, last knot that we're going to talk about, it's the 4 in hand. 4 in hand, not the 4 in hand, where like foreign language. 4 in hand. This is a very casual knot and it's meant to be loose. So I'll tell you the truth, once I tie it, I'm going to unbutton my top button so you can see the full effect. So what you're going to do for measuring up, to be honest, I would measure it the same way you probably would the Pratt. You probably could even use more, so maybe even a little more than the Pratt. So if here's your pocket, if the Pratt started right about here, I'll back up so you can see. If the Pratt started right about there, the foreign hand will start right about there, about maybe 2 inches below the pocket. Okay, so cross the big end over the little end. Okay, now instead of going up and through, what I want you to do is now put your, so you've crossed it over, okay? Crossed it over and brought it around. I want you to put your index finger right there and hold it right there, okay? Now what you're going to do is cross over again over your index finger, okay? And what you've created there is a little loop, is the loop that you end up putting it through at the end. Then you bring it up through the middle and through the loop. So let me just show you underneath. There's the loop. So you put it through the loop. And that is the 4 in hand, meant to look casual. So you unbutton it and you loosen it. That's the 4 in hand. It's a very skinny knot. It's a very casual knot. Sorry, I just shook the camera. This is a very casual knot. You could even loosen it up like that. I've seen it done that. Personally, I like it way up here. You know, if you're going out on a casual night, maybe you got a big date or something, this would be a good knot to go with the collar unbuttoned. This works really well with a widespread collar that I've found. It looks just as fine with the pointed and the peaked collar, pointed collar. I prefer it with the wide collar because then you get the full effect of the tie. And this is probably one of my favorite knots because it's so easy, it's casual, it's versatile, it's all those things. The 4 in hand. And there you have it, the Pratt, the full Windsor, and the 4 in hand. I hope you guys enjoyed those, and I hope you take advantage of those particular knots and use them in your everyday. The Pratt and the full Windsor you can definitely use in almost any situation. If the full Windsor is a little difficult for you to tie, don't worry, it's difficult for everybody. It took me almost a year to learn how to tie that one when I first started tying ties, and that was when I was about 14, not even, I was about like 12 or 13 when I started to tie ties. If you really want an easy one, little kids and younger adults, teenagers, you could get away with using the 4 in hand for business if you needed to. Wouldn't recommend it for adults. Kids can get away with it if they need to. It's a quick, easy way to tie a tie, and it looks nice. It kind of says casual, which is similar to youth, so if you want to use that one, that's totally cool. Otherwise, feel free to scour the internet for other things. Now, it wouldn't be a tie video if I didn't hit on 2 knots that everybody seems to love, the Eldridge and the Trinity. Gentlemen, don't ever use these 2 knots. These are what are considered novelty knots. And I'm basically going to show you, while I'm talking, I'm going to tie one so I can show you how ridiculous it looks. Okay? Believe it or not, I know how to tie one. Okay? So let's untie this 4 in hand. First of all, the reason you shouldn't do it is because majority of the ties they're selling nowadays are satin ties. Satin ties, it'll ruin your satin tie. Alright, so first of all, you got to do something like that. cross it over, bring it around. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is just absolutely ridiculous, the amount of time it takes to tie this thing. I mean, it's time you could be spent elsewhere. Now, granted, I pick up on things like this pretty quickly, so for me, it doesn't take too long to do, but even still, it's like, I just don't want to spend the time doing it. It just kind of looks silly. Alright. And that's the Trinity. Again, I did it kind of quick, so it's not amazingly good, but it works. Okay. And that's the Trinity, more or less. I mean, it can be. It's a pretty bad Trinity. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of these knots. And you can tell just because I'm not good at it. I don't like tying them. It takes too much time. They're novelty knots. They have a purpose. Their purpose is not business. It doesn't say professional. It doesn't say, look at me, I know what I'm doing. It says, look at me, I have no life and I spent my time on YouTube trying to learn how to tie this tie. Okay? Honestly, don't ever tie a tie like that. Most people don't even notice it. I'll be frankly honest. Most people do not even notice when you've tied it. And if they do notice, when they walk away, they laugh at you. I'm going to quote Aaron Marino from IamAlphaM.com. I hope you don't mind, Aaron, but I agree completely with what you said on this. He says that when you walk up to somebody with a knot like that, they first say, oh, that's so cool, how'd you do it? And then they walk away laughing because of how ridiculous you look. I completely agree. Alright, I've worked with people who have tied that knot, and I've also went to school with some people who've tied that knot. And before I was educated and found out how novelty it is, I'll be honest, I loved the knot, and I wanted to learn to tie it. But I'll be honest, now I don't want to. Because I know what people think of it. I know what businesses think about a knot like that, okay? It's not good. If you want a good knot, stick to the 3 that I showed you. Stick to the Pratt, stick to the Windsor, stick to the 4-in-hand. These are going to be knots that you can use everywhere, alright? Just like the 4-in-hand. You just saw me tie it. It's really quick and it looks good, alright? This is a casual knot. This is a cool looking knot. It's not triangular. It's weird shaped and it still looks pretty cool. People will ask you how you did it. If you have any other questions, email me at spfstyle@gmail.com. Thank you guys for watching. This is SPF Style signing off.